Hey there, if you're a busy professional, a working parent, or maybe you're juggling both, your workday probably feels like a constant battle for your attention, right? You've got the Slack pings, the back-to-back meetings, and this looming feeling about AI. It is a lot. So let's dive into how we can not just survive all this chaos, but actually learn to thrive in it. You know, this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The real pressure of modern work, it isn't really the tech itself. It's the constant, invisible weight of what everyone else expects from us through that tech. And that feeling, it actually has a name. And just knowing what it is, well, that's the first step to beating it. Yeah, researchers have a term for it, relational overload. This is totally different from just getting too many emails. This is about the sheer mental energy we burn, trying to figure out who to reply to first, which meeting really matters, and how to keep everybody happy without completely losing it. It's like this hidden tax on our focus. So, look, we can't just wish the chaos away. But what we can do is change how we operate inside of it. So let's get into a really powerful new mindset and some dead simple tools you can literally start using tomorrow. First up, let's just quickly put a name to the pressures we're all facing in what I'm calling the overload era. Just seeing them laid out like this can be validating, you know? It helps to know it's not just you. This is a real thing. And what's wild is how these all pile on top of each other. First, you've got AI anxiety, that little voice in the back of your head wondering if your skills will still be relevant in a few years. Then there's techno-stress, the sheer exhaustion of having to learn a new app or platform every other week. And all of that is before the attention tax, that constant draining mental calculation of who and what deserves your focus right now. It just drains our batteries before the day's even really begun. Okay, so how do we fight back? This is where we introduce a total game-changing mental shift. We're going to stop passively trying to manage stress and start actively training for performance. Let's talk about the corporate athlete mindset. And to really get this idea, let me just ask you a question. What on earth could someone who cycles across an entire country in 10 days have in common with a busy manager or a working parent who's juggling deadlines and daycare pickups? The answer? It's mental toughness. There was this fascinating study that looked at people who finished one of the world's absolute toughest endurance races. And here's the kicker. These are not full-time athletes. They're pilots, doctors, entrepreneurs, managers. They succeed because they train their minds to handle incredible pressure. And that is a skill that translates directly to the office or the home office. So the big idea here is this. We have to stop thinking of our workday as some endless marathon that we just have to grit our teeth and survive. Instead, we need to start seeing it as a series of sprints and recovery periods, something we can actually train for. It's about strategically building up our mental and emotional strength. Okay, let's move into the practical toolkit. The first, and honestly, the most critical skill for any corporate athlete is learning how to protect your focus. This is where we get into something called deep work. It's pretty simple, really. Deep work is the stuff that actually moves the needle. You know, strategic thinking, creative problem solving, the hard stuff. And shallow work, well, that's everything else. It's the endless emails, the constant reactive pings, all the little admin tasks. Most of us are stuck living in that shallow column, but our real value, our best work, comes from the deep. Now, here is the really good news. You do not need 8 hours of deep work a day. In fact, research shows that most people can only really sustain about 1 to 4 hours of that true intense focus. For any busy parent or professional listening, that should be a huge sigh of relief. The goal isn't a full day of focus. It's just about creating a consistent, protected block of it each day. So how do you actually do it? You just create a super simple routine. First, decide on the one important thing you want to get done. Then, clear your space, both digital and physical. Close those 50 browser tabs. And then, eliminate distractions. Turn your phone off. And I mean off, not just on silent. Finally, start with a little ritual, maybe just 2 minutes of deep breathing, to send a signal to your brain that says, okay, it's go time. And this is really important. Deep work doesn't mean you have to be a hermit locked away in a room by yourself. Think about it. A truly focused, distraction-free meeting, no phones, no laptops, just people focused on one problem, that kind of collaboration can solve issues that have been stuck in back-and-forth email chains for weeks. All right, so protecting your focus, that's half the battle. The other half is managing your energy so you don't burn out before you can even use that focus. So now, let's talk about building your resilience. Think of these as the essential tools in your mental fitness kit. Now, we all know about meditation and exercise, and they are absolutely crucial. But I want to zoom in on one of the most powerful and, honestly, underused tools on this entire list. It's called cognitive reappraisal. It sounds kind of fancy, but it's really just the simple act of changing the story you tell yourself about something stressful. So that high-pressure project your boss just dropped on your desk, it's not a threat that's designed to ruin your weekend. You can reframe it as a challenge, an opportunity to show what you're capable of. That tiny little shift in perspective can have a massive impact on your stress levels. So here's another super simple routine you can start tomorrow. Maybe 10 minutes of mindfulness in the morning to get grounded. Sometime during the day, just pick one stressful thought and actively try to reframe it. And maybe most important of all, protect your sleep. A well-rested brain is a resilient brain, period. And let's just be crystal clear about this. Rest is not laziness. It's a strategic weapon. Elite athletes will tell you that recovery is where you actually get stronger. And the exact same thing is true for our minds. Taking purposeful breaks allows your subconscious to go to work, connecting ideas and delivering those incredible aha moments. Okay, we have covered a new mindset and a couple of really practical toolkits. So now, how do we make this incredibly simple to actually start? This is your first move. Please do not try to become a deep work master overnight. That is just a recipe for feeling overwhelmed and giving up. The real goal here is just to build a little momentum. So just pick one thing from the Focus Toolkit, maybe scheduling just 30 minutes of uninterrupted time, and one thing from the Resilience Arsenal, like reframing one negative thought. That's it. Just start there. Because ultimately, when you really boil it all down, the future of work isn't about managing time anymore. It's about managing our attention. That's our most valuable resource. So the only question left is, what will you choose to focus on tomorrow? This explainer was brought to you by #WorkLifeOS Microeducation Units.